RNG there, so no lung ban, no lung pick up, which is super duper interesting. I'm pretty sure if there's any other teams on that stage today, they'll be like, hey, that is my boy, I am taking that from you. But to have the DRNG at the end, rounding out that team comp, is probably a good thing for Falcons because, again, DRNG late game has some great damage potential. But I think that Mutsu pick coming through is all trying to mitigate that Byron engage, because if we can land those skill shots, it kind of slows him in his pace.
100%. I mean, you have the Shang-Fei as well that's also going to jump in. Did also get that change, if you remember, in the recent patch notes as well. When he goes into his bigger form, when he goes into his ulti form, his abilities can now knock up, so now he has even more crowd control for him. So it's a bit of a secondary pick to the Lian Po. But here we go, game number 1 of today, of a lot of games today, and this is probably the most important one. Boom Esports against Falcons. Whoever loses this game is most likely going to be out of the competition. We're going to be seeing our first elimination for today.
Finally, very strange enough, though, that the Orgrin actually wasn't banned by either of these teams either, but still we see counter picks like the Masashi come through, the Mutsu as well. But we may not be waiting too long for some kind of action, and there we go, Nabil getting the first blood onto Boom Dragon. So this is something that I took away from my prep yesterday, that Falcons generally have a great early game, and it's currently showing here with that first blood for Nabil is huge for Team Falcons.
The big thing here is actually Clue starting off in the top side. We don't normally see this a lot from supports. We normally see them starting in the mid lane, trying to get that mid lane priority. But with Lady Shen in the mid lane, with the huge amount of wave clear that she has, it allows the Shang-Fei to start on top side. And you saw, because they got the pushing priority on top side, Sansa was stuck underneath the tower. It allowed Wawa and Clue to roam down into the mid lane. That's exactly what they were able to do to secure that first blood. But as you mentioned, Falcons' early game, even yesterday as well, their game against, I believe it was Loops.
Yes.
They had a really strong early game. They had a really strong gold lead. But when it comes to them team fights, their coordination are just not there yet. So they're going to have to try and improve that in this game.
Yeah, I think with Ray on the Monkey, it's probably going to be a lot more easier for him to get to these team fights, because we saw him on the likes of the Masashi yesterday, where you kind of have to exhaust that dash over the wall, and it means that you don't have as much as a steadier engage after you use it just to clear some sort of terrain. But whereas Monkey, he can circle around, use that ultimate, and he's there. But speaking of Ray, taking a lot of damage there from Dragon in the mid lane. That's something you don't want, as we see Boom and Falcons come through into the mid lane. We see that the Masashi ult does not connect onto the Lady Chen. But again, such great brawls happening from minute 2.
Yeah, really nice flash there from the build to be able to get out the Masashi ultimate. Has to be careful in the bot side as well. Ali dashing in, trying to get a little bit of damage. But this is one thing the Falcons need to be careful of. They need to be careful of this Angela because of that crowd control. Because in the game like Honor of Kings, you don't really have too much in terms of vision. Your vision is just around your hero itself. There is no other ways of getting vision around the map unless you go for the support item. So you do have to be careful when you are playing aggressive, when you are trying to invade and trying to walk through the river. The Angela can be sitting in that bush, and she does do an incredible amount of burst damage.
Yeah, if she lands that deadly combo on you, 1, you're slowed, 2, you're CC'd, and then 3, that blazing brilliance just does so much damage, like we saw just in that mid lane onto Ray. But here we are. There is a potential 2v2.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Going heavily in Boom's favor. You just called it out there, Stu. That Angela does sit in those bushes, and she is phenomenal, which was a great play by Boom.
Really nice rotation as well by Dragon. I was talking about maybe her sitting in the river, maybe her sitting in the mid lane. I don't think Falcons was expecting her to be sitting in the clash lane.
No.
But Shashi jumping in with the ultimate is not going to be taking down Ray. But yeah, really nice play from Dragon, being able to take that kill back. And it's actually Boom at the moment that have that 1,000 gold lead. So doing really well with the rotations, grabbing the farm early on. But this is definitely going to be a very, very close back and forth game. Yesterday we saw a lot of teams, a lot of, you could say, stomps in a way. But this one is going to be, the pressure is on for these two teams.
Yes, speaking of pressure, we're seeing a lot of pressure already on the farm lane as we see the first stage of the Tyrant come up. Jizix is already in the pit of the Tyrant. Tyrant. And we see that Mutsu is trying to keep them away, same as the Sun Tzu as well. But oh, there is a crucial kill theft from Team Falcons. But is that going to be a crucial trade here? Because we're already 2-0. It's a 2-1 trade now over to the side of Team Falcons. But we already seen that Sofiane is looking pretty low. Mutsu not quite yet ready to give that kill. And Clue also looking pretty low. Here comes Boom! Dragon in with a blazing brilliance, and then Mutsu picks up another kill onto the Durenji. It is just Wawa alone in that farm lane T1 right now. This could set up the T1 takedown.
Yeah, they suffered a little bit there, Falcons. They were really going for, as you mentioned, that steal onto that Tyrant. They're able to get that steal. They're able to get the bonus damage. But because they have to go super aggressive and try and go for that steal, they were a little bit behind in terms of the tempo. And again, Boom Esports to Angela again. The crowd control that we were talking about during the draft. The Mutsi going over with that long-range stun. Then the Angela stun on top of that as well. Falcons need to be careful of this crowd control. It's so difficult, especially when you're playing these very melee-type heroes, like the Byron, like the Menki, even the Zhang Fei as well. When you're stepping forward, you have to be careful about that crowd control.
Yeah, it's the only problem when you don't have as much range, but to be honest, you've got the Lady Shen, you've got the Durenji, but these are not the ones that are sort of phase checking. They are literally just staying in their lanes. They are farming up, just getting their resources to try and itemize the enemy team. But it looks like that Toshi's able to take that T1, so first turret does go over to the side of Boom Esports, which is now going to really open up that side lane and mean that it's going to be not so much safer for Falcon Sofiane in the bot lane. But here we go, Ray Wawa here on the 2v3 onto Boom Esports. Sunset coming around as well. The boat does come through. Boom taking another kill thanks to the blazing brilliance. And this is going to be a T2 at 6 minutes.
They're really struggling at the moment, Falcons. It's just the grouping at the moment from Boom Esports. Like I said, it's just that ease of the composition, you know, being able to easily get the engages, easily get that first kind of engage onto the side of Falcons. And because they're the first ones that are being proactive, the ones that are actually going in for the engage, Falcons are on the back foot at the moment. You know, that Menki is normally a kind of a late game scaling jungler, has to kind of get a few items, has to be able to get tankier, but needs to get into the mid and late game before he can actually get tanky. And at the moment, nowhere near that point at the moment. So you're seeing that Angela, the burst damage from Dragon at the moment, doing an incredible job.
Yeah, Dragon and Impressive are doing fantastic efforts setting up these engages, and they don't have to be anywhere near these enemy heroes to set them up. They just pop skill 1 and 2, and then the setup's already there, and then allow Miji or allow Ajizix to go in and just clean up with that close quarter combat. We've seen a lot of pressure going onto Sofiane in the back lane, but there we go. Ajizix goes in with the ultimate onto the monkey there, and Sofiane looking pretty low, but Ray takes another L in the team fight. Boom Esports actually 8 kills to 2 right now, and that 23k to 8k goal, 18k goal difference is something that Falcons need to start to worry about.
Falcons have some sort of miscommunication or something at the moment, because we're seeing the likes of Clue and Ray engage, but Wawa is on the opposite side of the map. Now the Bill is going to get caught in the mid lane. It's Boom Esports that are just grouping together as these little bundles, whether it's 4 people, whether it's 3 people, but you're seeing this engage as well. Look at Wawa on the minimap in the top left-hand corner.
Yep.
He's nowhere in sight. He's nowhere near the team, and you're seeing the likes of Ray and also Clue trying to engage, and there's just that little bit of miscommunication, which is so crucial at the moment, because this is a best of 1. We have to remind everyone at home. So you lose this game, it's going to be brutal for the side of Falcons. But for Boom Esports, this can keep their dream alive.
It could be the saving grace indeed. And like you were saying, Wawa is playing a little bit too far back. You can kind of see where he's coming from. He's trying to sort of hope that the backline gets damaged a little bit. But like we were saying in the earlier game, they don't really have the range into the backline, because it counts on the Zhang Fei to get in. It counts on the Monkey to get in. And if they can't get in, then Lady Shen or Durenji aren't going to be the ones to start that engage. So we already see him there just kind of trying to stalk, and it's just not working out for Falcons. But Boom already looking like they're going to pretty much solidify their place and get their first victory. But Wawa sitting in that brush there, not looking like he wants to clear the minion waves. Toshi's just being given a free T2 there. I'm not too sure what's happening here, Stu.
Yeah, I think Wawa is trying to play the flank at the moment. Wawa's trying to stay on the back line, trying to get a little bit of flank, but the build going a bit too far forward again. You can't step that far forward against the Ali. Her mobility that she's able to bring to Boom Esports at the moment is just way too much. Even the Sansa diving in, Musashi into the back line as well. The Dorenji has to flash away, but still dies underneath the crystal. Sansa stays alive, but it's a 1-for-1 trade, but they will happily take that trade with the minions pushing into the clash lane. They're going to be able to get this high ground tower. And Boom Esports, this is a completely different Boom Esports than what we saw yesterday. They look confident, they look aggressive, and they're looking to try and finish this game.
They are pretty much looking for that, Stu, but it's currently a 2-1 trade right now. We do have Sophian on the 3-second death timer, and obviously Jizzix with that fantastic the goal on that engage to go straight under the crystal, but it did allow them to get that higher ground turret. So I believe the trade for Boom's life for that high ground turret is going to play very well and definitely in the favor for Boom Esports. But Dragon just picking up kills from these bushes left, right, and center, Stu. They are using this Angela brutally, and we are going to get a no, they do deny the kill. Theft onto the Shadow Overlord this time around, so this could be what Falcons need to try and give some pressure into these side lanes, but we do see that Ray falls down once more, not quite escaping these jungle objectives, getting out of these neutral objectives alive.
Yeah, I don't think really this Overlord is going to do that much. You know, just using it straight into the mid lane. Yeah. They're trying to slow the game down. They need items ASAP on the likes of Clue and Ray because they are not tanking any of this Angela damage at the moment. Angela is so far ahead in terms of tempo, in terms of items, the gold as well. And Clue and Ray cannot tank any of this damage at all. They're supposed to be frontline tanks. They're not even tanks at the moment. They are squishy as anything, and they're playing super aggressive, as you can see. Now, with Boom being able to take the Tyrant, they're now going to try and look to get that one last team fight to try and win this game.
Yeah, we got a very valiant effort here from Wawa, trying to get the T2 onto the side lane in that clash lane, but Jizzix knew and is going to go here to try and shut down the Wawa, but currently already taking a big beating is Wawa, and there we go, Midget's coming around with a little bit of a helpful hand to take that 2v1 and able to stop the Jizzix falling down on the side of Boom Esports, but 14 kills to 5 right now, Stu. We're seeing that 5k goal difference, almost 6k. There it is, ding, ding, ding on the bell. It comes through for Boom Esports, but like you were saying, Stu, the Zhongfei, the Monkey pick are just all playing behind the Lady Chen. It's kind of like they're like, oh, don't let me go in. Just tell me when. Tell me when. They're not taking the initiative themselves, it seems.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Boom Esports have been the proactive one. You know, Falcons at the moment are playing reactionary, which is not what their composition wants. You know, as you mentioned, they want the Zhongfei to go in. They want the Menki to go in as well. And it's so difficult to be able to do that when they're so far behind, not only in gold, but also in tempo as well. I mean, they're struggling to even go into their own jungle. You can see they're worried. They're all just standing around. They're all super worried to even face check, because even with the face checks at the moment, which is supposed to be Ray and Clue, and look, you can see here, perfect here from the observers, just toggling the vision control of both Boom Esports and Falcons at the moment, and they're just realizing that every single time Dragon is looking to step up, look at that, always trying to go into bushes, always trying to play around the vision, and he's playing incredibly well so far in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a bit into Boom's knowledge of these wards as well. So when we saw the River Sprite give out that ward onto the Azure Golem, we saw that Dragon was hiding behind a bush that wouldn't be detected. And then as soon as that timer went off, they were proactively moving forward. So this really shows that Boom Esports know more than we actually feel like they do, because they're currently at that 0-3, but this could be their potential first dub on the board, and it is everything to this club to get this first victory. And we're already seeing a little bit more of an assault here onto the higher ground turret, but Falcons are able to clear those minions, whilst we see that Sunset is able to push, get a split push potential, hopefully, into that clash lane, because that's where the most of the pressure is going to be, Stu, is because of those more enhanced minions into the clash lane. It's going to be harder for them to, it's going to be a priority for them to look out on the side of Team Falcons.
The only thing I worry about at the moment for Boom Esports, they are taking quite a lot of time to try and finish this game. They were super proactive in the early game. They were able to take a few kills and get a huge advantage. They're probably just playing with I guess, a little bit of worry in the end, because they're like, okay, this is probably the most important game in our group. We need to win this game to keep our hopes alive. So they're not willing to take any risks. But the problem for Falcons is they can't even go out of their own base. They're trying to now to try and take this Shadow Overlord, but it might just get engaged on and lose the game.
Yes, we see a great bit of a bait there from Miji. He's just trying to keep them from that Shadow Overlord, but here's Ray. He is not able to get in to the Shadow Overlord camp, so this is going to be very fruitful for the side of Boom Esports. But like you're saying there, Stu, a great observation is that Boom are taking their time to finish this game. They had to the 9-minute mark where they got the high ground turret. It's been 5 minutes since we've seen any sort of other advancements. But here we are. They are still trying to contest and take the Shadow Tyrant, even though they have that jungle debuff. They are all working on it as a team. Maybe this is what they're just trying to pull together to finish this match, is have the Overlord, have the Tyrant. Let's have the next brawl.
Yeah, as mentioned, the Falcons cannot step out of their own base. Even though Boom are taking this very slow, they're just being very considerate. They're making sure they're not making any mistakes, because one simple mistake in a game of Honor of Kings can be the turning point for this team. But as you mentioned now, with the Shadow Overlord, with the Shadow Tyrant, you do have that Vanguard coming in, and they're going for the engage.
Yes, G6 is going straight onto the back line, but nice blow away there from the Zhang Fei. So keeping them away. Clue going in with a aggressive engage. This is what we've been missing all day. This is what we've been needing from Clue, is just being that big beast that is Zhang Fei. But it looks like it's not going to be enough here, Stu. They have taken the higher ground turret in the farm lane, and it is only a matter of time until they take that higher ground turret in the mid lane. But that's the kind of fights we need to see from Falcon. I feel like it's a little bit too late to have that fight, because your back is now against the wall, only having one higher ground turret left.
Yeah, exactly. I think they had the damage also from the turret as well, also giving them a helping hand. You see Musashi trying to dive in there, trying to do a lot of damage, trying to get that one kill that they need to try and finish this game. Nabil playing super aggressive, has to be extremely careful. Nabil does not want to be there. Nabil is not the tank of the team, but I think job done at the moment for Boom Esports. They were able to get the bottom high ground tower. They got the top high ground tower. They're now just trying to push in this mid lane, trying to get that third high ground tower, which pretty much seals the deal for Falcons, because at that point, and there you go, at that point where 3 high ground towers are taken down, it's so difficult now for Falcons to even leave their base. You have minions pushing in the top, you have minions pushing in the mid, you have minions pushing in the bot lane. How do you defend this if you're Falcons?
I mean, they're showing it right now that they're defending it pretty well here, Stu. They're able to mitigate that wave there, because it just didn't seem that Boom was able to have their footing in, because all three lanes are splitting 5 players there. So even if we saw like the engage from the Motsu come through, I feel like it wouldn't have been as fruitful as some of these previous team fights would have been, or previous engages would have been. So again, we could be seeing the first 20-minute match of this mid-season invitational. But Miji here going against the Ray as well. Ray looking pretty low. Toshi is into the back here. Ray just about escaping with his life thanks to that shield, and because Angela and Motsu's angle in there wasn't quite as well positioned as it should have been. They probably would have been able to take it out if they was able to just get a clear sight onto Ray. But again, we're still seeing it. Team Falcons are still in it. There's a 7.8k gold difference right now.
Yeah, you can see that Ray's starting to get a little bit tankier. You can see that he's starting to tank quite a lot of damage. Menki is now scaled a little bit into this late game. The problem is, as you mentioned before, I think it's a little bit too late. I think they've just lost so much in terms of momentum, in terms of just pure map control. You know, Boom Esports have the whole map control. I think they're just waiting at the moment for these next major objectives to spawn. As you can see, the Shadow Overlord has been spawned. Falcons are trying their best to try and step up and try and defend and try and take away this Overlord, because if that Shadow Vanguard comes in, it could be the end for them.
It's going to have to be a very well-played team fight here by the side of Team Falcons. Already been down 8k gold, but they are trying to whittle down the health of Jizzix, but he does have the Sage's Sanctuary. War is down, so it's already a 5v4 matchup here. We see that Miji's gone straight into the back of the line there, trying to do some damage onto Sophian, but he still has that Sage's Sanctuary. Nabil goes down as well. This could be the potential end here, the curtain call for Team Falcons, as we see both the side lanes have the minions here, Stu. Jizzix still has that Sage's Sanctuary. He's able to bait those abilities. We see that Boom Esports are probably looking for the final strike here onto the side of Team Falcons, and click, click, boom! Esports getting their first dub on the board today.
Boom Esports keeping their dreams alive. A much-needed victory for them, but the road doesn't end here as well. They still also need to try and win the next game as well against AG Global. So there's no time to rest for them. They have to go back. They have to prepare for AG Global, and they need to also try and win that game as well. But you can see the faces of Falcons at the moment. This could be the end for them. There's a slim chance that there's a possibility of a three-way tiebreaker between Falcons, between Boom, and also AG Global. But Falcons have to play Weibo Gaming still, whereas Boom Esports and AG Global face off against each other. So really, really strong performance. This is the Boom that we was expecting, you know, coming into this from the SEA showdown. Dragon, I have to say, MVP of this game on the Angela. So many picks. Impressive as well on that Mozi.
Yes, I mean, just showing clearly a different playstyle of what we've been seeing to Boom Esports. Dragon just being absolutely a ninja on a mage. We never thought we'd have those same things in the same sentence, but a mage being a ninja, very selfie, just basically being the intel, the main intel on the side of Boom Esports really showed the difference and the victory meaning of it. Yeah, for sure. Boom Esports keeping their dream alive. They need one more game to try and win, to try and do it as well. But incredible victory at the moment for Boom Esports. We'll have to try and see what they're able to do. But that's our next game as well. That's the crazy thing. Yes. Boom Esports have got AG Global on the A stream in our next game as well. So
you know, this game, really strong showing by Boom, and it could be back to winning ways, right? But first and foremost, I want to talk about how this state was achieved. I like the fact that they picked the mortar. The mortar was extremely good against the likes of Falcon because they had to face check bushes, and boy, were they punished so many times by the Angela. And this is exactly what I was telling Falcon. Keep yourself in the box.
Yeah, and I think that kind of showcased exactly why the Falcons played the way that they did. Kindofu, am I correct in this?
Let's be realistic, man. Kindofu is just telling them, what are you doing? Follow me. They follow him, and this is the result.
Not good, not good. I'm not impressed at all whatsoever as Kindofu the coach.
Boy, do not put words in my mouth. I was just telling them, hey, we could do a little bit better. But in any case, it was Boom who came out on top, and with the advantage they got for themselves, specifically that huge lead in the first 4 minutes of the game, they capitalized on it. They took so many neutral objectives, and they just extended their lead.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I kind of want to point out Dragon here, because the Angela Blazing Brilliance was on point. Everybody from Falcons would just get burned up. They had no real way to kind of counter that, to deal with it. There were so many kills that Dragon got. I think it was 7-1 and 5 or something like that. But Dragon, that is a very good game for him.
Yes, perfect as well. And to complement that, it was Miggy as well as RG6 who made so much, gave so much pressure to the side of Falcon. They could not touch the main damage dealer, which was Toshi.
Yeah, and I think this is another thing that we need to address. Isaac was talking about it during the game itself, where Boom Esports had an advantage, and I'll let you. I don't want to take your point.
No, go ahead.
No, because it's one of those things where you were